Welcome to the Notes to My Legal Self, AI Insights, where law and AI collide. Get ready to level up your legal game with us. We've got career advice, cutting-edge developments, mind-blowing legal tech, and more. Know someone making waves in the legal AI world? Nominate them, or even nominate yourself. We love courageous souls. And don't forget, we want to hear from you too. Ask questions, drop comments. Let's build a community of legal superheroes. But here's the deal. We're all about to have a blast. AI may be serious, but we're here to make it fun. So buckle up, get ready to power up, and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Now, let's introduce your fearless host, Olga Mack. Get ready to dive into the awesomeness of Notes to My Legal Self, AI Insights. Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm really excited to have this conversation. This conversation is partially about tech. It's always about tech because I love tech, and AI is definitely a disruptive technology that will change lives. But the part that I'm really excited about today is the changing lives. I am here with my very good friend, Art. We've recently met, and we've had a long conversation for 3 hours about the future and the way AI will be changing lives. And I'm really excited to have this conversation with him today. So if you have questions, definitely ask, because AI is not just a technology, it's an opportunity for us to touch many people and have access to things that are not available today. So with that, Art, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have this conversation. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Olga. Good to have you here. Art Shaikh, founder and CEO of digitalwill.com. Digitalwill.com, based out of Chicago, is a startup that is building on the AI platform a smart way to plan for your life and legacies. These solutions are very much tailored towards anyone that wants to do a thorough life planning about things that they want done for their loved ones. And it's a way a technology can help you be there.
How did Art get up in the morning and decide to help people to plan their end of life? What's the story?
It was never a plan. It was never a part of a plan. It is all random events in life translates into what you live, learn, and what you do with it. Going through personal experience, myself having father passed away in 2012, and him asking us to do things on his behalf was one of the big ideas around how I wanted to take that concept of being there in the future for your loved ones on birthdays, graduation, things like that, and bring that technology to the world, because there's a lot of people that may not be there for those milestones. So that's what really got me off and took me away from working at Salesforce for many years. I had a very good career there, and now this is what we do full time.
Tell me more about, what did your dad ask, and what did it take to carry it out? And I guess, what did you learn in the process?
It's the first thing is that a letter shows up, email shows up, and gives you a lot of fatherly advice. It started from that. It was his reflection of his life. It was him telling his own story, that he wanted to make sure that his kids and all remembered and knew. And then came in shoebox of memories, of CDs, DVDs, pictures. What he wanted to do is he wanted every nephew and niece to get things from him, all the things that he has captured of us, even from early childhood. And he wanted them to know, but at that time in 2012, they were really young, and he wanted them to really remember the family members. So a lot of those things. And then around, do this on her wedding, you should deliver a flower and a card from me and this message. These are the type of things that he had left and instructions to do. That really ultimately in 2016 kind of transpired into an idea where, how do I let a technology deliver things for people in the future without a human.
It's very clear that to your dad, things like stories, to your dad, the stories and the pictures and messages, memories needed to be passed, along as with other sort of important things like passwords and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that needed to be passed. How did you go about making sure that all of that happens?
Thing is that passwords and stuff is where the bigger problem was for us. That is what dad didn't do. Okay. And through that, just getting to the phone and losing all that digital asset from dad was painful in that thing. There is part of our things was reserved, but he didn't perfectly had an opportunity to plan that because it just was very difficult process manually.
What about with respect to sort of pictures and stories? Was that easier, or was that still a process of sharing and disseminating that information?
What we found out at part of building in the last 7 years that I've been at this journey now since 2016 is people want to be there for their loved one and they want to be remembered. And any technology that can solve that problem for the people will have a very big impact.
I love that. It's really interesting that how you articulated this problem, and I just wrote it down. People want to be there and they want to be remembered. And what you're saying is that we have technology to really allow folks to be there and be remembered, not just for the select few, but for everyone, really.
If you're rich families, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of attorneys, state planning people. They will come in. Your studio crews will record all your stories and everything. There's a lot rich families can do to preserve their legacies and all. But for an average person, there is nothing really out there where you can technology that you can trust and it can do things for you in the future, like an insurance company does. You believe that you pay your premium. Insurance companies after that make sure that they pass on that financial stuff to your family members and all. That's exactly, we continue to deliver and work for people after they pass away to make sure all of their instructions and wishes are carried out.
I love it. Let's zero in on technology, because there is a massive human component in what you're doing, but there is also an important back end of technology. How does AI transform? What are examples how AI can really help to digitize this experience and, most importantly, make it available to more than to select few?
Number one thing around the AI part in the legal space, right? It's AI is here to stay, and the AI's application in the legal world has not even been at the front center. There is not much innovation in legal space that is really going on. This industry has been pretty much operating in a standard model. The innovative folks who will look at combining AI and human experience together and delivering a solution that users can adapt. Just building technology is not. It's users using it, being able to scale globally type of stuff is extremely important. These are all the things that 15 years ago was likely not possible because a lot of coordination of in the legal space takes many different steps that happens, and the AI was not ready at that particular point. And now it's fast getting there where it can take on all the heavy load of where people, time and resources are wasted. And that's where human doesn't need to focus. That's where the AI work wonders.
What would be some of the examples, especially in the context of your business, in the context of serving the last wishes to be there and to be remembered and give access to everyone? What are the kind of things AI can do to make that vision, that really big vision, a reality?
One of the great use of AI is within digital world, you'll be able to send cards and gifts to loved ones. Okay. AI will be the one, because when you pass away and you said, okay, after that, when I pass away on that anniversary, I want my wife to get a bouquet. AI is the one who's figuring and coordinating every aspect of the delivery and making sure anything that is delivered is on point through that without a human messenger behind that. So everything can connect directly. That is one of the real use case around it. But AI are in the legal, in our world or in legal space, preparing legal documentation to be being able to take a lot of the inputs around executors and beneficiaries and all, and turning that into a legally binding will. That is all stuff that AI can generate without human intervention.
As you think through the various benefits of AI, sort of the automation of the documents part, the carrying out of the last wishes, the all of those opportunities, there's a lot of things you can do. And of course, AI is a technology that's somewhat new, somewhat old, somewhat new. It's definitely rapidly developing. It has various challenges. What challenges have you seen, and how do you think we're going to be overcoming them?
One thing, AI, the best AI is the one that is not visible, and each technology is going to have it behind it. Okay. You may not realize it. AI is already around us. Imagine a family concierge, right? When somebody passes away, at that particular point, hell breaks loose. You have funeral to prepare. You have to worry about people's finances. Talk to anyone that has to deal, who, as an executive, who has to deal with somebody who passed away, and putting all their life pieces together is one of the nightmares, right? And that is where the beautiful part is. You are able to, the AI can guide you to create, handhold you through every aspect of it, because on a global scale, the adoption around technology is not that big. It's increasing. People need easy solutions that they'll be able to do. They don't need legal solutions. That really what I wanted to expand. It's ultimately the AI becomes a family concierge, which makes sure that every routing, making sure all the tasks, every instructions are carried forward, and there's reporting and everything for legal purposes.
It's interesting that you said that AI is really best when it's not, visible. And that's true for any technology. I think in the end, like, who cares how it's
People
done?
don't care about how the sausage is made. They like the sausage or a hot dog. Okay. AI can make my life easy. In the end, that's what I expect AI to do. If you want something done, just type it, write to it, give us the instructions. That's it, done.
How is less important than it is actually done. And to the extent you can automate it, you don't need to understand what happens in the background or how it works. If you have a great experience, it's all beautiful. It works. And if it doesn't work, if you have to stop on the highway and look what's under the hood and figure out how your car works, then you don't have a good ride. That's all I know. You don't have a good ride at that point. That's a really great observation. And I really love that you lead with that. It's really about the human experiences and what happens on the back end. We are fortunate to live in the part of the history where we have technology to do this, but ultimately that's not what a person cares about. With that, what challenges have you seen or do you anticipate? Because technology can bring challenges too. It doesn't matter on the one hand because we just need to get things done, but technology also can be challenging. And I'm just curious, what, if any, challenges have you seen with respect to AI specifically?
My biggest concern around AI, and millions of people will agree, is around data privacy part of it. Some of the things, what happens even with Chat GPT, the amount of data you're inputting, somebody has access to that particular set of data. You could be cutting and pasting your company's financial in it. You're giving your data to somebody and you don't know what they plan on doing. Privacy is where I'm a big proponent of it. There has to be ethical use of AI, and it's like right now it's a runway for a lot of companies to, just like early on, when, if you remember Facebook and how unethically they had done some part of their business and how they had treated customer data, there is an opportunity for a lot of people to exploit that right now.
Privacy, especially in the context of your services and what you're building, you are serving humans and they are entrusting you with, yes, memories, and yes, sort of stuff that is important to them, and yes, passwords, and yes, maybe health information, and yes, maybe their darkest secrets. And We can debate whether or not you have privacy right after you pass. I think that's a legally actually debatable thing. But all of that aside, there's genetic information potential, all kinds of stuff that may qualify for privacy of people who remain and even possibly person who are no longer with us. And then of course in some jurisdictions you have this right to be forgotten, which is an element of privacy for sure, even for those who passed. I'm just curious. It's definitely a concern. It's definitely widely debated. There is not enough legal guidance. As the founder who's trying to be of service and wants to do the right thing, both in carrying out and being there and being remembered, but also with respect to things like ethics and privacy. How do you approach it? How do you make decisions about how do you do art? How do you do the right thing?
Doing the right thing has cost. When I built my first technology, Circulate, we refused to sell our customer data. We have over 8 million people using that technology. And because we didn't sell the data, we couldn't generate a lot of revenues through advertisers and all. But what we realized that safeguarding somebody's legacy is a genuine opportunity in the marketplace. And for that, our customers are willing to pay for that service.
Let's reflect on the fact that you have 8 million people on your platform. That's a lot of people. Congratulations. Wow.
Could have had 20, but we're still growing.
You're speaking like a true founder. We can all be smarter, taller, richer, but yet there we are. 8 million is a lot of millions of people.
Olga, I don't complain about height. That's not an issue.
That's true. You're a very tall man, but I could have been taller. Anyway, 8 million is a lot of people. I'm just curious. That's a lot of ways to observe people interacting with technology, geographically speaking, or any other trends. Like, where do you see the most excitement about this safeguarding your legacy, being there, being remembered? How do you see worldwide that excitement unfold?
Wills aren't exciting. Nobody wakes up and says, get jazzed us about wills, PDF documents, and attorneys and all that process. Our application and things we are able to accomplish through an experience that we are willing to deliver, that experience is what our users are telling us is what they have craved all along. A technology that they can trust with everything, and then technology smart, private, and secure to deliver and run all these things for them in the future. One of the patented things we do within our technology is like if you just take digital will out, you can write all your life story and write it in a book and password and all and give it to your loved ones. Either these things can get lost, somebody can access those passwords. There's a lot of misuse that can happen. There's a big need to actually one technology that you can trust to do things for you in the future. Simple.
Go ahead.
And whether it is will, whether it is planning for your funeral, this entire life planning, and if you look at the stages of different life, some call it end of life planning. I call it life planning. Is part of living. We all are going to die, whether you like it or you don't. You have to better be prepared for it. And that's what we are not. We are not.
That is so true. It is true that you're a tall man. It is also true that we're all gonna die. All of those things are absolutely true. And I love that you are that language we use around it is actually very important. And I really love that you called out calling it end of life planning really does not give justice to the fact that we all die, and planning for the end is part of life.
Life and legacy, Olga, life and legacy. My vision ultimately is when all my components work together, it will be everything for somebody. Your great grandchild may come to digital will and will be able to ask you a question 100 years from now and get an answer from grandma Olga, who is no longer there. Ask any question, gets your response. These aren't AI generated texts that are coming in. These are all of your life story, things you have left for them to find out from you.
Some people struggle with me in their lifetime. I'm not sure the world is ready for me to live forever, but let's think about it.
No, but what I'm saying is that is post beyond us. That's the legacy part of it. In the end, people want to be remembered. If you look at that, is what legacy is, what they're talking about. They want to make sure their kids, their grandkids know about a lot about them and their family and their heritage. That's a very powerful thing. We see a lot of that coming in from Ireland, New Zealand. It's just crazy on how strong the need in the marketplace is.
That's very and it's more than that. It's memories, but it's also values, things that are important, all kinds of things. Very, very interesting. You mentioned New Zealand, Ireland. Where else do you see a strong sort of sense of legacy and life planning and being there and being remembered? How do you see it geographically spread out?
I'm like, we're 198 countries. He goes, you just went global? I said, why wouldn't we? It's a global problem we are solving. As of right now.
I mean, look, the reason he said you went global, because if you normally build a startup, you build it, say, in the United States or UK or Australia, and sometimes even like in the States, and then it's called scaling. This is much later in the game where you go to other jurisdictions. By then, you have a professional team that does it. Art, you just blown this guy's mind. You're like, yeah, I'm everywhere. That's why you had a reaction. But I mean, that's the best part about this technology.
We don't control right now where we grow in. It's just people are coming in from all over the world. Our mission is right there. We're meeting the needs on a global scale, because on globe 70% of Americans don't have a will. If you go outside US, that aspect is non-existent. A lot of people think that they don't need a legal will because they don't have all that asset. That's fair. I hear you. But you know what? They have a lot of digital assets. Your digital asset needs to be protected, and so does your physical. And we want to be able to deliver both.
I love that. I want to talk to you about two things, because I think you're very uniquely positioned talking about two things. One, trust. How do you build trust with technology? Because I think when you build something like life planning solutions and legacy and being there and being remembered, people trusting you with their sort of sacred things, their memories, their pictures, their password, trust is going to be very important. So the first question is, how do you convey the trust? How do you make sure that they know that they can trust you? And how do you, as an organization, as a leader of this organization, think about trust in a sort of a holistic, systematic way to make sure that you and your company live up to fairly high expectations that come with entrusting somebody's legacy?
Number one thing is, I learned many years ago, trust is earned, and it's earned over time. And it comes in phases. People who are coming in are trusting us. They're beginning to give us the data that they won't even give it to their accountant at times. Crypto keys, for example, or access to your bank account details, like a lot of this information that we have. And the people that are trusting us right off the bat are the ones that are running out of time. They don't have a lot of option. They need this service to be able to provide. As we continue to grow and get bigger as a company and have millions of users, over time, people understand that what our business model is and how we live through every single day. We are as accountable like any other technology and safeguarding, and our entire business is around safeguarding your digital legacy. Trust is number one element of our core values.
I love that you say that trust is earned over time, and perhaps that's the opportunity for disruptive technology like AI. And the pressure of doing things right is that if you do things right, you have an opportunity to earn trust over time. I love that concept. We also have,
but it's the option also. It's also the option, right? If you don't trust digital will, for example, then you have to trust somebody. And when you have to trust somebody, that will be a human. That human may or may not be there also. You have a lot of downstream risk. You ultimately have no other option than to trust a technology, unless you have so many brothers who make sure that everything is taken care of. And even then, people want a lot of privacy, and they don't want to pass out all these things. And people can get access to life passwords and stuff while they're alive as well. There's a lot of privacy related things that happens if you have to give your data to somebody. If you are imagine a mom who is breast cancer survivor battling cancer and may not live the next year. The messages and stuff that you may record, whatever you want to tell to your children and all, that message you have giving it to your attorney so they can watch it on the video. Like those are all not private as part of experience. We want to take the middleman out of it. It's a direct connection between you and your loved one. We are just a safeguard of that asset till you pass away. And then everything unlocks and goes in motion, and we do our routing, managing, making sure executors, beneficiary are well informed around and they know all the steps they need to take care of. I don't need to go through a huge PDF document of legalese to figure out what did my father wanted me to do. I need to know my steps, what I need to take care of, what my brother knows what he needs to take care of. If my friend is responsible for the funeral services, they know what they need to take care of, and all the arrangements we have done. It's an integrated life solution. Ultimately, it's just solving life's problem, because again, coming back to, there are 8 billion people, they all will need my technology sooner or later.
Yes. You've said a few things that are profound. Let me comment on a couple of things. One is that you don't really need a bunch of legalese. What you need is essentially a to-do list of steps you need to take. I love that when we had our conversation, remember when I asked you, are you a lawyer? How does a guy like named Art get up in the morning and want to be in this legal challenge? And I still remember we had such a wonderful conversation for 3 hours when you said, Olga, dying is not a legal problem. Dying happens to everyone. There could be a legal component, but it is part of life. And to me, that's the reason why we had a 3-hour conversation. We as lawyers tend to bifurcate legal from life, but in reality, it is highly intertwined. The other thing, there's a number of folks in the audience who are really enjoying this conversation. Stacy is very grateful for it. And then we have a comment from Lashanda, who is really excited that I'm hosting it, and nonprofits, many of which are involved in legacy planning, help their members to do that, and has been looking for someone like you as well. I'm really excited that this conversation resonates. This conversation resonated with me a few months ago and caught my attention. And that's the reason why we have this conversation here, is because I wanted to make sure that it is not just a 3-hour benefit for Olga. It was an amazing dinner with Art, but something that everyone has access to. That's the reason for this conversation. It had a profound impact on the way I view legal innovation and legacy and, frankly, life. And that's the reason for this conversation. I do like to touch a little bit more about the sort of global aspect of it. You touched upon it. As somebody who was born elsewhere, who been in the United States long enough and definitely considers herself a California girl, the benefit of being born and raised elsewhere is that I feel a very profound connection to the rest of the world, and always excited about the global perspective and the way we can, yes, solve problems at home. And for me, home is California, but also have an impact on the rest, as you said, 8 billion people worldwide. And you went global pretty early, right from the beginning. Why is that sort of global aspect of this challenge that you're solving? Why is it important to you? I'm just curious on a personal level. You keep repeating it, and then you just went for it globally. Why is it so important to solve it for you globally?
The whole genesis of my idea of being there and all was initially just so that I build a technology that my family could use, my mom could use, okay, and for her own grandkids. That particular mission is just resonated with millions of people across the world. What we learned is at that time is you have to continue to think global, okay? We make an often mistake of just focusing on US. It is 8 billion people, US 360 million. There are the top 5 countries are China, US, India, Pakistan. Like in between India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, there are 2 billion people. Knowing a lot of cultural awareness helps. I know I'm not an attorney. I will never be an attorney. What I understand about this whole process of death overseas in different cultures is speed is needed. If you are a Muslim, most 95 or 99% of the Muslim people are buried within the day they die. Technology is where it can step in that and control that chaos with all the directives and everything, because everything is like people are WhatsApping each other, messaging, texting, when's the funeral. Every part of us in the end is a mess. There is a tagline we came up with. Funny thing is, it's leave a legacy, not a mess.
There are definitely some time pressures in different cultures to do it fast. And then, of course, between putting things together and corralling everyone and the emotions is through the roof, all of that will be a hectic process one way or another. But I think you put it beautifully, it doesn't have to be a mess. You can focus on grieving, which is part of the process of getting on the other side, and consoling people who are the most impacted by what happened. But it doesn't have to be a total fiasco. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, you want to leave things with a map and a keys that people can unlock and take things when they need to, and that's where technology really helps deliver that experience.
The map and the key. I love that. That is such a great way to talk about it. You want to leave. We all leave one day, but we want to leave a map and a key. That's a great way to think about the benefit of this technology. We're coming to the end, and dying is a complex thing, and even say inventorying everything you have. I have. It's a nightmare. If I have to figure out all the passwords I have to have, and I have multiple computers, and it would take me a significant investment of time and energy with me alone, and then coordinating with my spouse and children and my parents.
That's a benefit to you. See, benefit to you is there, but just imagine the mess if you don't prepare well. Okay, for loved one, if it takes you that many hours to find your thing, just imagine when somebody else has to piece their digital life back together. Whether it's your subscription, I can't cancel it because I don't know that, I don't have that PIN code that they have for that. They keep charging till the card gets canceled. Somebody doesn't know my father had a credit card that I didn't pay. There's all of these things are out there that ultimately you have to get organized. Just don't wait till it's too late.
So inventorying is an important critical step. Can
Yeah.
technology streamline? Like, what can technology do to solve Olga's crap all over the place problem?
You can give it a lot of raw data about dump off your passwords, all that thing. It can fill it up. It can store things. You don't have to go manually do that. There is a lot of smart use of AI that can be applied to it.
We can inventory things. That's a good step.
And then the guided part of it, knowing what you need to do in this whole and life planning, right? You have to think of it from how an individual customer thinks about it. There's things about me and my personal information. There are certain things I want to store. Then I want clarity, and I want flexibility to decide and say, I want to add this type of accounts, this type of digital assets, and these are my wishes. And I want this to go to this person. I want this to go to this, but not this person. My brother gets my iCloud access, but my uncle will get something else. It gives you, people need that control. The only way to do it is to actually pay attorney a lot of fees, and every year they'll keep charging till you die, and hopefully they don't die with you, and then they'll have to go and do those things. These are all the things you can do that with technology at dirt cheap prices. Like, why would you waste your time? Because one password hack and all has a lot of financial consequences. Just a no-brainer ultimately in the end.
I find it interesting when you say, hopefully your attorney doesn't die. The truth is,
they do in the same plane.
Sometimes they die before or in the same plane.
If it's human, it's a risk. If it's human, it's a risk.
I can tell you lawyers are human. I can testify to that. No problem. I very interesting. And then under the complexity solution, like solving for complexity and inventorying, solving for the human challenge of us having a finite number of days on the planet Earth. What about, I really liked when you talked about you don't really need a bunch of legalese. What you need is simple instructions.
Will is nothing more than things you want done is we have turned that into like some legal document. I read one page and my eyes are like I can't read no more. And the
Yeah.
and if you know the problem, I have a friend, Scott. So Scott has a will. He was one of my early friends who had given me money to invest behind my crazy vision and everything. One day I had asked Scott, like Scott said, I have a will. I said, where is it? He said, somewhere in the basement. And I said, oh, okay, can you find it? He goes, probably not. It's very difficult. So just imagine. And I'm like, who's in your will? My brother. I'm like, do you think he remembers? He's like, it was 10 years ago. I don't know if he remembers. What good is that? That is a false sense of security. It's just horrible because wills are outdated. Things about us are continuously changing. So your life, your legacy will not be going through a PDF document, I promise you.
I love that. This is really exciting and really something to think about. I guess we're coming to the end. I do want to ask you one more question, and then I will ask you to give one takeaway because we covered a lot of ground. I'll ask you, sort of, what is the one simple step or two simple steps we all can do to make sure that our legacy and our last wishes are part of our lives and actually ultimately have a shot of materializing and become true?
You need digitalwill.com. And the answer is digitalwill.com because I first solved the problem for my own family, for my own self, and for my friends. And that problem solving turned into this solution that we have today. Until and unless you are willing to build your own and spend 7 years of your life at it, go at it.
I just like your company. I'm not building my own. And we could talk all day. I am really grateful for this fantastic conversation, Art. I'm really delighted that we spent 3 hours in the past doing a deep dive in your vision and what you're doing. And then I would love for you to, as part of your goodbye, to share one takeaway, because you've shared so much about legacy, being remembered, being there, AI, technology, complexities and simplifications, all kinds of stuff. We covered a lot of ground. If folks remember nothing else, what is the one takeaway or a couple of takeaways that you want them to have?
This is my lesson in life is short and tomorrow is not guaranteed. Your aspects of your life that and I want everyone to just think about if they were to pass away today, what happens to their family tomorrow? That will change the way you think. The things that your kids, your wife, and all will have to go through. And just remember things like when the kid's birthday happens next year or when the kids graduate, and how will that kid remember the dad out there? That will change. You have to put yourself in that shoe, and you have to then look at it and say it changes the perspective of how you plan for the inevitable.
Thank you so much for that perspective. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. This was really great, and I love talking to you. We could do it all day. This was fantastic. A lot of takeaways for me, including the fact that we all will die one day, and that while I knew that, it's great to have honest conversations around it. Safeguarding legacy is something I'm very much thinking about as a human and somebody who has a mission in her life, and what it means to be there and what it means to be remembered, and how technology can really help us on that journey, how we can allow not just the select few that can afford to be part of that journey, but to include the rest of the world to be part of it. All of those things are, I think, a very important part of conversations as we're thinking about privacy, security, ethics, regulations of AI. There is definitely a massive upside of this technology in allowing and access to do things and plan legacy and really improve lives, and should be part of the conversation. Think about it. Happy to hear from you. Would love to hear more from you. And until next time, we'll talk more about next time. Thanks. Bye.
And that brings us to the end of another thrilling episode on the Notes to My Legal Self AI Insights. We had a fantastic time exploring the fascinating intersection of law and AI with you. But hold on tight because the adventure doesn't stop here. Stay connected with us on social media to continue the conversation, share your thoughts, and be part of our incredible community of legal enthusiasts. Together, we can inspire, learn, and make a real impact on the world of law and AI. If you enjoyed today's episode, we encourage you to share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone else who could benefit from the exciting insights we discussed. Let's spread the knowledge and enthusiasm far and wide.